And here we are again, and we are about to start on this great adventure. We are going to hit the turn button and see what happens. You can see that we have a very small surplus here. Or it's not that small. It's okay. It will shrink as we build more ships, get a higher cost of keeping things going. Okay, this one is active, but it's not actually doing anything. But we are going to send it on foreign station soon, and it's 25 is not that expensive, so let's keep it. Research, everything, it looks good. Intelligence, there is nothing really to spy on yet, so we can crank that up once we get going. We could redesign more ships as well, but we might as well just wait a little bit, see how things go, not do everything at once, because it can get kind of boring. We can also later consider fortifying our colonial possessions to make them more resistant against attack. And that includes East. Now, East Germany has a value of 10, so it cannot really be attacked. And we could sort of disband the batteries in our home countries, because again they cannot be invaded, so they could appear in some battles, but these are very, if you look at the fortifications, these are tiny 4-inch and 6-inch batteries. They don't really contribute anything but it's less than 50. That's like running one of these colonial corvettes, so there is no money to be saved really by scrapping them. And also we can try to role play a little bit. The Kaiser might get upset if we take away all his coastal fortifications, because all the other guys have coastal fortifications, and then he must have coastal fortifications. So makes sense, right? Yeah, is that it? Did I forget anything? We have fixed officers, we have tech, we have some divisions. We have started in expanding our docks, so we are running a surplus. We will look at some more ships later. Now, so let's just hit the turn button, see what happens. Turn! And now we get our first sort of burn messages. It's sort of a report. And the game automatically places Admiral in command of these areas. I'm pretty sure didn't I remove those auto assignment clicks, but okay, it's not a problem. Indian Ocean and Southern Africa, we are not going to be fighting there anyway, but now we have admirals assigned. There is intelligence report from Great Britain. I mean, this writing is perfect size for ants, but not for humans actually. I put on my glasses, helps a little bit, but there is no way to increase the size of the font or zoom in or anything, so that's basically it. Yeah, they are increasing naval spending as if they weren't already very big. So here you can turn on and off some of these messages. I mean, you can get and the message when the ship is laid down, when they commission something. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's... we can initially sort of run with everything just to get an idea of what's going on, but I usually just check the almanac from time to time and see what's happening. We're going to hit the almanac now, and I don't remember what Britain's budget was, but it's certainly not. I think it was like 350. Now it's closer to 360, so good for them. Yeah, every year each nation's budget will organically increase because the economy is assumed to increase, and some nations increase faster overall. The US is in the top tier there. But I would also say that Germany, if the US is S tier, then Germany is A tier. So you have every possibility to become sort of the second most powerful country in terms of income. You can surpass the UK after a while, a good while. So, but there are also plenty of events that can affect your budget. Your tension is too low, it can be nerfed. So, turn. And now we are. The Kaiser suggests that as the command of West Africa is vacant, Admiral Mensen Volken, don't know if he's skilled, might do a good job in the post. And then we can pick just what I was thinking and get prestige because we are the Kaiser's yes man. Or we can take a prestige hit and randomly assign, but having it's fine, not a problem. And then since I changed the preferences, we can see that some nations are laying down some ships. The commander has been promoted to captain, and this Holschendorf commander has proven himself to be of above average ability. And this happens a lot. When you see tensions jump up and down, you can find the explanation here. Random tension changes, it goes down. Yeah. Our latest design, it took 2 turns. The Valkyrie is ready for construction. So we could go to the build screen, okay. We can either suggest, or we can pick from a list, or we could just decide on a name. And it will, of course, be Valkyrie, since that is the class name, so the first ship should be named that. So it will take 21 months, so nearly 2 years to get it out, and it took 2 years to design it, so it takes 23 months from you start the process to the ship hits the water, and then it needs a few more months to work up. So you see, you have to sort of plan ahead, and by the time this one is finished, we might have some nice technologies that would have made the ship better, but you can't just wait 2 years. That makes no sense. So this will eat up almost our entire surplus, but we will hit OK. And you can see that it's now down here. But it is, I think, a decent ship. I could probably be optimized further, but I think it strikes a reasonable balance between being a good ship in the game and being a reasonable ship for the time and age. If we assume that I, the player, Großadmiral von Heck, have just taken over and we're kicking out all the old IDs and in with the new. So now we can see that Arta is ready in 2 months, but this one is actually ready in 1 month. The time to build can fluctuate just a little bit, even though those two should finish at the same time. They do not always do that. Nothing. I tend to always save this sort of when I'm ready to hit the turn button, because I'm a paranoid old man. So Freya has finished her reconstruction. Okay. And now a colonial crisis with France has arisen. You're asked for recommendation. What is your advice? You can either safeguard our interests, and if it leads to war, we are prepared to fight for it. This gives a plus on the budget, and it gives a point of prestige, and it gives a double jump or something in tension. It can vary a little bit. You could do the middle option, that's budget and slightly more tension, but you don't get the prestige. But prestige isn't that important. We're not ready for war. You could actually make concessions. You still get the budget, but you get a hit to prestige. But French tension actually goes down. So yeah, tensions are pretty low at the moment, but there could come a chain of events that sort of pushes France into uncomfortable territory. And we are absolutely not ready, I think. I don't feel ready to fight France. I really don't want to fight France. At this point, we will fight France, but we will not do it now. But the question is, do we want to sort of cultivate tensions now to keep it above the level where it might suddenly go down? Yeah, let's role play this a bit. It would be best to avoid a war, we can tell the Kaiser, but we must prepare for the future. This feels too weak, so we will hit the OK button. You also have the option of jumping into the almanac to check things out, or you could also check relations while you're at it. So tension of 5 should be okay. If you bump it up a point or two, 7 is fine, and then I think but we don't know what will happen later. We could get other events or random fluctuations, and France is our traditional enemy, so they tend to get more of these random fluctuation tension up, up, up. So it can be quite dangerous, even though it looks fine. But okay, let's choose the middle option. And reports of Russia building a 6-inch battery in Western Russia. I'm not sure that's very relevant for us, but this is interesting. We have more ships in South American East Coast, and then you can ask, what the hell? Why do we have a ship there? That's that bugger that we put on foreign support. It's making its way probably to the Indian Ocean or something, and it's decided to, instead of going around Africa, it's going around South America. Fair enough. And we have no bases there whatsoever, so yeah. But we can use that. Oh, it's ready for construction. Go to the build screen. And you can see our balance is back up because both our one cruise is finished and this one is finishing. So, and this will of course also be first. Or we could just call it Bismarck. Yeah. That feels weird. Let's keep it a bit royal. Still in plus, so we could manage to refit more ships. Okay, but let's check out this, because yeah, it's going around the tip of South America. You can click here. You could bring out, here are some icons to show where do we have oil. We don't have oil, but Great Britain, Russia, US, and Austria, Hungary for some reason have probably the Romanian oil fields, I suppose. Is Romania a separate country at this stage? I don't know. Anyway, the map doesn't sort of, the borders are static, so you don't have changing borders. So, but yeah, you can see a little. Somehow we should see a very tiny. Yeah, there it is. It's so tiny, the ship, that there is no strength bar, but it's moving here. And sometimes if you have ships that are above your base cap, then they get fatigued and their crew quality suffers. You want crew quality to be at least good. That's sort of the baseline. I think our fare is fair enough, but you still get a penalty, but it's not as big. Good is even better. Elite is of course preferable. But now I lost my train of thought. Yeah. We are going here, and I want to see this ship finished. But look here. Now this useless ship has become active. But do we want it to be active? No. We can put it in reserve. I mean, we could probably mothball it as well, but that feels strange when we have rebuilt it. But now we can see that it has 2 7-inch and 10 6-inch guns and a bunch of torpedoes, and not listed here, the tertiary battery of lots and lots of 3-inch rapid fire guns. So, but the speed dropped from 18 to 16, but if we are going to use them alongside our battle fleet here, I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem. Yeah. So let's do one more month before we do some funny business. Yeah, I'm not gonna mention saving. I'm saving all the time. There, finished the reconstruction. Okay, there's a scandal with Russia. We can either use it to increase tension or just reduce tension. So this is an event that lets you manipulate, but we will use it to embarrass Russia. We're not afraid of Russia. News papers in Japan are clamoring for their army to build more armored cruisers. Okay, so they have gotten a random event where they have to build cruisers. Oh, wow, great. Our best commander, the brilliant speed enthusiast, he has left the service. That's great. He hasn't been promoted. He just went from captain to, yeah, God knows what. But we get a guy with below average ability and so forth and so forth. And now we have more ships on the west coast because our corvette has gone there. You can sort of scan through these turn messages, and it can be fun or useless depending on. Close. So now we have a good surplus here, and the tension with France didn't really didn't increase that much, I think. So I'm going to increase the intel somewhat on the nations I feel are relevant for us, and maybe we can get some information on what sort of ships and stuff they are doing. Maybe we can steal something from them as well. You can see there is an asterisk here. That means we are working up to that level, and it can take quite a few months, maybe even a year, I think, if you go from low to high, for example, before we get that anything. I don't want to push it too hard, especially at this point with France and Britain, because they can catch your spies and then they get really upset. And Italy, I want them to be our friend, don't want to upset them. None of these feel particularly relevant at the moment, but I will spy a little bit on them later once I have my sea legs. We can also take a quick look in the almanac. Now, somehow Japan is behind on tech, although no one has, as far as I know, had any technical breakthroughs, so it's still not still no use looking at that. Now the question is, should we perhaps try to freshen up more of our ships? Should we, for example, look at these cruisers? Can they reasonably be bulged, for example? That would again drop their speed. They would become 18 speed cruisers. But again, if you look at our battleships and our other bulged cruisers, do they really enjoy in any way going faster than their companions? It's definitely worth checking out, I think. And we have these Heinrichs, but let's think some more. And then we have these Frauenlobs. We could also consider doing something with them. They have what I consider a decent weapon layout. 2x8, 8x6, that's not horrible. The biggest question, I think, what to do with these Hellas 6 4-inch guns. That's just entirely pathetic. It doesn't really do anything. It's like playing with pea shooters, and the amount of guns is also just tragic. So I want to have a look, play around a little bit, see if we can maybe get some use out of it. Here you can see their base speed is actually 20. And this 21 is sort of, well, the design turned out better than expected and it goes a whole knot faster. The problem is if I bulge this, it takes 2 knots off this, so we are 3 knots down actually. I think you could get that event where, I'm not sure you can get that event when you rebuild. So you might never get that knot back. So it's a big give. On the other hand, this gives 500 extra tons to such a tiny ship that is a huge increase. Increases the displacement by 1/6. So it's of course only a very small. I mean, we could certainly have 6-inch guns, and we could have, I don't know, a couple of 5-inchers. We could even throw in a few. We could have some 5-inchers, and we could put a bunch of. I mean, if we bulge it, it's suddenly gonna kick ass. It suddenly has 6 each of 6-inch and 5-inch guns, and 8 3-inch quality 1 guns. It's unfortunately it's super slow compared to what it is now. It will not chase down anything, which is a shame, I think, but it's definitely a possibility, and we could consider doing it for just some of them. We have 13, so we don't have to do the same refit for each and every one of them. We could also do a much lighter refit. We could sort of get rid of the forward firing torpedo, and we could get rid of these no, I could not clear turret, port wings, starboard wing. So we reduce the main guns to just these 2 guys, and then we could go up to 5-inch, much better than the other stuff. Then we could have, let's say, 4 inches, and we could, I suppose, bring down the ammo count to something more reasonable. Won't live that long, so we could have this. This is a very mild rebuild that will also take good care of the ship's speed. So we could do a split here. We could bulge some of them, and then we could keep the others, at least for a while, like this, and then we could maybe bulge them later as well. That's not too bad. And then we have these two. These two have speed 20 and the same lame ass layout. So maybe we could bulge these guys, then all 5 would end up with speed 18. And they could sort of operate with our bulged cruisers. I don't know. That could be an idea. And then we could have sort of 2 fast scout cruise divisions that we update just a tiny bit. I'm not. Yeah. Or we could just keep 1 division as fast chasers and bulge the rest here. So there we have options. Let's look at this guy, the big one. Much as I'd like to bulge, yeah, I can't really put in. You're not allowed to add more big guns. I can add more 6-inch guns, but nothing bigger. And then I have to take the secondary battery down to 6-inchers. And then I really don't need the bulge. Besides 14, that's low. That means should very rarely move at anything above 12 knots. So that's so slow, it's almost incomprehensible. But okay, now let's open it again. And crazy stuff, it already has 350 tons that are not unused, so that's not a very good design. We don't really have to bulge it. It has cramped accommodation. I would make those normal. That takes away quite a few. But we could do this, and instead we have too big one forward battery of 10-inch. This is a horrible design. We could just how many can we have? Yeah, it's seriously overweight, so we cannot add that many guns. We could add like this, and then we could have these good 3-inch guns. I think this would be a better ship overall. But we could also take down the armor of the secondary guns, because that's not so important now that we have only 6 inches. There won't be any huge explosions. But you can see the turrets, they don't even have any top armor, so we definitely need to fix that. But then the time goes up and the monthly cost changes. And we have to be aware of topside load, but okay, 12. Then we can suddenly do 14. There isn't any graphics beyond 14, so I cannot, because of my own personal rules, add more guns. And I would have to put them in double turrets. So this could be an option, or I could just skip the light guns altogether and do 5-inchers. That was just very heavy. I think I cannot have more than 30 secondary and tertiary guns. This is, however, yeah, top side limit is exceeded, but only by a little bit, so it's not narrow belt. We cannot change. Short range, low freeboard, cannot change that. It has no. I would like some torpedoes, maybe. There's definitely room to play around with this guy, and we would have to increase the ammunition count somewhat. Yeah, this is probably fine. So 12, 16, 18, yeah, something like that. I will think about it, but it is possible without bulging. I don't really see how bulging would help us. Would of course help with torpedo hits, but let them die. If they sink, they sink. Okay. This one I think is mostly the same. Heavy armor here. We'd take that down to 2. Would give some top armor. Would bring this out of casemates and down to 6 inches. Sort of rack up, I don't know, like this. Horrible, but this is actually a better ship than the big one. And then it could have sort of, I don't know, 5-inch guns. Because it has much less armor. So yeah, we would have to do. But there are options here. Or we could just let them keep those damn 9-inch secondary batteries, but there aren't very many of them. This has 2. I mean, it has 4 smokestacks like that. This is the strangest ship. And the whole tail end there is full of boats. This is not a battleship. This is, I think, the worst battleship that I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm not sure I really want to spend any money upgrading them. But we could put some more of our ships into construction. One light cruiser does not make a fleet, and neither does a heavy cruiser. So let's sort by type here. And first Bismarck, 12,000 tons. We can pick a name. Prince Adalbert. Yeah, that sounds good. And now we are not running such a big surplus. But some of these other light cruisers are going to finish pretty soon, so I think we will go ahead and build. There is the Valkyrie. Okay, pick. Those pretty boring names. Wiesbaden. Okay, yeah, these are. Augsburg, that's a cool place. Yeah. So running a small deficit there, but we can live with that. Saving and moving forward. Okay, we have a temporary setback, and it doesn't really say which tech category this is, so you sort of have to know that this is, I believe this is high explosive. Let me just quickly check that. I can't even find where it is. So explosives, yeah, it's the first step of explosive shells. But okay, I feel that you often get these setbacks rather than the little boost, but maybe it's human nature to focus on the negative. Okay, tension with France is reduced due to random changes, but it increases due to historical enmity. So, reduced. So everybody reduces, but France also go up because they hate us. Couple of average and some unexplained delays building one of our ships. That happens. So now already, no, not the almanac, the relations. So now France is pretty steady. They're up from 5 at the start. 6 is fine. Once they hit 7, I think this turns yellow. That's a sign that well, things are going well, but not that well. So let's turn again. Average. Tension with France increases as our wealth and power makes them resent us. Okay, that's a lot of resentment. I think it's the War of 1870 that's causing them issues. Yeah, and there it went up. It went up by 1 step until the lowest yellow here. So this could happen multiple times in a row, and suddenly we are at the war, and then we will regret not having reduced tensions a bit when we have the chance. But we will just keep going. There is no reason not to. There has been an upheaval in Albania. Italy is sending a force to restore order. What do you recommend? You can either ask them to back down or call for an international force, but we don't care about Albania. We want the Italians to have Albania, don't we? So, and we definitely don't want increased tensions with Italy, no? No, Italy has taken control of Albania. We can get events like that. Last time I played Germany, I got Norway in an event like that. That was very nice. Then I could have some bases close to the North Sea. So suddenly I appreciated Operation Weserübung just a little bit more, because having the ability to base my air and having bases to retreat to when I was fighting the British in the North Sea, very convenient. Yeah. Britain is again increasing naval spending. That's also an event. And we have a tension increase event with the UK. We haven't done anything, and we are a puny little nation. Why do you hate us? We are practically the same. Our royal houses are our family. We are family. Yeah. But now, South American East Coast, what is going on? We will have to take a look at our ships. Now this crazy... he's been into the Indian Ocean and now is going back to West Africa, where I sincerely hope he'll stop. This star means he's fatigued, so he doesn't like that. But okay, so he sailed from Germany around South Africa into the Pacific to visit our Pacific colonies, and now he's going back to West Africa. He can't really handle that, so we will just ask him to stay put once he reaches West Africa. The point was he was supposed to just go down to West Africa and not divert into the Pacific at all. But what do I know? I'm just a Großadmiral. Yeah, here you can see the size of our active fleet. It's not very big. Active fleet, why do we have an active fleet at all? Yeah, we have one corvette that's active because I was going to send that to the Indian Ocean, I think. If I send that to the Indian Ocean and this one to the Indian Ocean, 2,500 plus 12, that should be... I think this one is big enough not to get its... Very small ships only count half, I think, for foreign stations. So with these two together, we can try to move them to the Indian Ocean. But I'm pretty sure they will be sad once they are on their way, because we have no bases in the Middle East and range is atrocious at the moment. Okay. Yeah, this is very confusing for me. I'm not entirely sure what they are up to. This usually sorts itself out. To micromanage. Well, okay, the Danzig will be ready soon. Spy from Japan, what do we want to do? We can get more tension with Japan, which is okay because they are on the other side of the world. We would eventually like an alliance to sort of neuter Russia, but the sweet budget increase. And you can also see that our unrest for some reason have bobbed up. We don't have a very big budget at the moment, nor do we have a very big fleet, but this happens every time I try to play as Germany. In the 1890s, it quietly just goes up. I had it go up to 6, 7 without doing anything in particular. And 10 is revolt chance, so it's, yeah. Okay, so... yeah, more ships in the Med. Or we can't drive 2 small ships through the Med without having trouble with basing. Yeah, it took a good jump, so suddenly we are in the green. I think I just want to continue this until the end of the year, and then we can maybe consider refitting some additional ships. Oh, this is nice. We get a random event. It can increase by 500 or 1,000, or later it can expand by more. It's a random event, so it immediately pops up. Some officer fun. Left his wife and moved in with an actress of tarnished reputation. He cannot... I have a hit to my prestige, or I can just kick him out of the Navy. He's not taking my prestige with him, so out he goes. If he was brilliant or something, I could consider taking care of him, but nah. No interesting messages, and it's October and things haven't burned down quite yet. Königsberg, that's one of the new light cruisers. And if you look at the division editor, I was planning to sort of stick them in here. So I have one light cruiser division with the reasonable ships, and then I have 3 with the not so useful ships, and that last Danzig can actually fit in here. But I realize that I need a new cruiser division. Cruiser. I think I will call it cruiser reserve, because I will stick weird stuff there. So I will add my sort of second rate or slow cruisers. These guys, this one is now active. So that's probably costing me more money than I want to. No, we don't want to do that. For the time being, he's a good administrator, so we will clear ships from this division, and I will just basically stick them in here to make it them cheaper. Don't know, I think he slashes the price by a third or something. It's quite significant, but this one can be in reserve with the other guys. You don't need it to be active. Okay, these have arrived. This one has arrived West Africa, Indian Ocean. And this one is in Southern Africa. Northern Europe. I'm just randomly sending it to South Pacific, because I have friends there, so I wanted to go there and help out. We have West Africa, Indian Ocean. This one really didn't need to go there. So this one should be able to move back to Northern Europe now. I think maybe I will design and build a couple of more colonial cruisers that can. I think I should do that right away. Design ship, corvette. Let's see if we can get a reasonable one. 1,700 tons. Yes, but we had one foreign station that required 3,000 tons, so I will bump this to 2.6 plus 25%. 2.4. That should be 600 extra. That should be perfect. It really doesn't need to be armored. Does not need a 6-inch gun. The rest is fine. Unlike other ships, corvettes can actually be. That was an ugly looking corvette. This is too ugly. I don't want it. This was much nicer looking. 2.4, and it can go 17 knots. That's okay. But we want colonial service. Okay, yes. And these others are 17 knots, so that seems normal. You can have these excellent 3-inch guns and some forward firing guns. The graphic looks good. Cannot have anything here, but we could throw in minesweeping gear just because. It increases the cost a bit, but you can never have too many minesweepers. Yeah. I think this is our new XC. The Felix Schultz. It's a little bit bigger. Has some guns, but it's not a fighter because it has absolutely 0 armor. So it will typically be sunk if it bumps into anyone bad. That will take us 1 month. Okay, anti-German rebellion. This happens from time to time and makes us very sad. We don't want to lose our precious colonies. And this is in the Indian Ocean. Yeah, this is finished working up. Working up means that it rather quickly builds up skill until it reaches fair. So you can take it off and put them directly into reserve or mothball or active, but it's usually a good idea to let them work up. I think they cost a little bit more when they are working up, but not a whole lot. Okay, naval visit. You can be impressed, then you lose prestige. You lose prestige for being a decent guy. You are happy to have hosted these fine ships, nothing. This gives prestige and it gives tension, but now our tension with these guys are high, so we don't need more tension and we don't need more prestige. We can just take the neutral option, I think. Yeah, but the threat from France rising, the Hawk Party manages to pass a bill with additional funding. Yeah, we're going to need that because it looks like we are going to be crushed pretty soon. I didn't even notice those pumping up. Go to the build screen, and we only need one. No, it will be the Felix Schultz. Okay, that takes a little year to, but yeah, the rebellion. This one is moving back to Europe, but it's not. It's going back to the Indian Ocean because it needs to help deal with the rebellion. And if you look at the possessions here, you can see, if you click here, you can see in rebellion. I wish there was an easier way to see that things are in rebellion, but there it is, in rebellion. It could be sort of a logo or something. That would have been very helpful. The only way to fight this is to station ships there. So what I will do now is, this one is in southern Africa, so we'll actually move that to the Indian Ocean as well. And I will move this one that is in the Indian Ocean to southern Africa. Then we can fulfill our colonial commitments. This one is fine. It can just hang out in the Indian Ocean. And we could even consider sending additional forces. We could send these decent Victoria Luises, for example. This one also needs a division. You can see it's can do this from this position as well, and it will go to the scout cruiser division. If you look at it now, they are filled up, 5 in each. But not everyone is back at home. We can send some of the Frauenlobs over to assist. These are very expensive ones active, but I think we need to send them to the, yeah, well, we have to check the base cap. You click on the area, you can see I have 1 light cruiser and 2 corvettes, and they have a total base value of 4. One of the corvettes is moving away, so but there's a light cruiser coming, so I cannot have a base much higher than I have a base of 5, so if I go above that, we get that fatigue situation, and so I'm not sending any more units. If this was later in the game, I would probably rush in with heavy forces and clobber those rebels. There's a chance the rebellion will die down. There is a chance that will tear away from us. Not terrible if they do. Our colonial commitments are minimal, but yeah, that's not the way we want it to go. But now we have money to spare, but now our tensions are very high. So normally you would want to mobilize here, but mobilization can also trigger increased tension, and really I think I would just prefer to pray and hope that tensions drop down, because it's 1890 and we are definitely not ready for war. We have done nothing to deserve this hate. So we could consider building more ships. We need at least one more Bismarck to sort of make any sense. It can be the Friedrich Karl, then we can have an entire line of these good ships sort of make up the core of our new fleet. Don't want to go too far into the negative, so I will wait. No, wait, these two are almost done. Then we can order another Valkyrie, and it will be Dresden. No, sorry, Aachen. That's very medieval. So we are into the red, but that will sort itself out soon enough. New docks completed. Prince Henrik is commissioned. Yeah, okay, this is one of the drawbacks of having a Kaiser. He wants these palaces all the time. So we could enlist the help of the Navy League, but that could randomly push up the tension of, we don't know who, all of them, some of them. But we don't want these to increase further. So we could just protest. That would take our prestige down by 1. We can also give him what he wants, but that would reduce our budget, so we will protest. The rebellion continues. So. And now it claims that we do not have enough tonnage on foreign stations. Why is that? We have nothing in southern Africa. How did that happen? Okay, it's delayed. Normally it just moves directly from the Indian Ocean to southern Africa, but here we have a crazy delay, so I will put it on foreign station and hope it keeps moving the way I want it to. I'm in plus here again, and we'll get more pluses, so I think I will just hit the increased dock size again. It costs money, but it will be worth it. And then we could sort of right-click the first Bismarck, open the design screen, and see what can we do with. If we go that far, we won't get the benefit of just working on it. So if we go up to 13,000, we would have 659 points to work with. We could either increase our firepower. We could build a new class with 6-inch guns, for example. That's significantly better than having 5-inch guns. We could keep these, or we could even go up to 5-inch guns instead of 3-inch tertiaries. This is, of course, an immense increase in firepower. 4 isn't any point because that is a +0. Then I'd rather have this, and I think I'd rather have this for anti-torpedo boat protection. Anyway, so I could do that. I could, but I could armor my ship more extensively. I could bring the conning tower up a bit. That I cannot do. No. I think it probably was fine. This is probably better because those secondaries are now splinter proof and more or less proof against 3, 4 or 5-inch, at least unless they get very close. So this would be a significantly more powerful ship. But now, since I changed stuff here, let's open design again. It was not this, but it is fooling around with. Oh, that was strange. What triggered the big change in? I'm not sure why it suddenly decided not to. Was it the conning tower, maybe? No. Yeah, okay. If I increase the conning tower too much, it's too big a change. Yeah. I mean, this is fine. It's also fine. This would leave quite a bit of room for later improvements. So there is, we could play around a bit, or we could open design and we could go see what 3.5. This could buy us more powerful defenses here. Yeah, there are definitely some possibilities here. We could design a better Bismarck, but for the time being, we now need to start waiting for some of these ships to finish because we can't fit another iteration of this class, but you can stop building new Bismarcks. We can sort of build the upgrade or an entirely new class. It will be similar, but it will be better. Anyway, I think I will call it for now and then get back again on tomorrow. So take care.